review in the future, no? So you can always check on this one. Okay, so lesson 4, you can start right away. We can finish topic B and let's proceed with topic C right away as well. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Wait sa mag-share screen sa ako. May I ask if namoy nakita?
Nana.
Clarice.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning, everyone. This is a very short topic in continuation sa na-discuss the previous meeting about formatting your tables. So, we immediately proceed to the format task pane. So, sayo na ni siya hinumdumon. Kay the format task pane fine-tunes the overall formatting of charts. So, in simpler terms, ang format task pane mo na makapa-enhance or makapa-format sa imuhang charts. So, how do you access the format task pane? So, first, you go to wait first you go to chart tools set tools, and then there you search you look for the format, then current selection, then format selection. So kani siya makita ra ni siya during the demonstration and hopefully makademo karon. Then for the titles sa kaning charts, it will differ depending on what type of chart you're using. So ang title sa format task pane, I mean, kay mo differ siya on what type of chart you're using. So for access, like for example, line graph, ana, you will see there format axis task pane and task pane, and for chart title you will see there a title for format chart title task pane. So moving on, all you need to remember for the format task pane is that it has different configuration. It may display two tabs that essentially divide the formatting commands between texts and other objects. And under each of these tabs is a series of other tabs that further divide the commands into functional groups. So for an idea of what the format task pane is, so mano siya, no? So in this case, we have the format chart area. And then following slides, we will discuss the components under the format chart area. And first off, we have the title, of course, that displays various variations of the format task pane's title depending on the chart element currently selected. Next, we have the task pane options drop-down arrow, which provides access to options for moving, resizing, or closing the format task pane. Next, we have the options drop-down arrow that enables selection of different chart elements for formatting purposes. It is the same as the current selection function na katong introduce na ko ganina. And then we have here the high-level tabs that divides formatting commands into functional tools at the highest level. Next, we have the low-level tabs that divides formatting commands and options at a more granular level than the high-level tabs. Command sections, which are task-specific sections that may be expanded or collapsed to access or hide the specific commands and options. And lastly, we have the commands and options that enables application of formatting options to selected chart elements. So, wordy kay siya, no, pero mura na siya og leveling ang kaning format task pane elements and their descriptions basing sa ilahang definitions no nakananggikan sa pinakataas nga function nagkaubos. So ayan na to siya pagsabot ang iyahang elements and descriptions, and we will understand this better later, and if makademo mas ma-imagine ninyo akong gipangyaw-yaw. Next off, we have the chart tools buttons. These buttons display a set of three buttons near the top right corner of the chart area, which can quickly access some of the most commonly used commands for formatting and modifying charts. And selecting any of the buttons opens either a menu, a gallery containing commands, or options for configuring current charts. So depende on what you would want to do with that tool button. So these are the three kanang kapadulngan kung unsay mabuhat ana niya. And to give you an idea, so mo na siya when you drag your cursor to the table, to the chart, I mean. So makita ninyo na ang tulo ka option button sa upper right sa chart. So you have there chart elements, chart styles, and chart filters. Oh, yeah. So ang chart elements, so these buttons will kuan sa inyong elements baka tabang og modify like certain elements like data and like that. And then chart styles is the style you want to apply to your chart. Like if example ganahan ka i-change nimo hang chart to a line graph or something, so you can access it through chart styles, and also the color or the theme of the colors of your chart diri sa nimo siya mabuhat mapislit na button. And then chart filters is also same sa data. Then proceeding, we have here the select data source dialog box. So kani sayon-sayon na ni siya kay this manages entire Excel chart data. So, mara ni mo hunanhaon. Basta select data source dialog box. Ang iyahang buhaton is i-manage niya ang data sa imuhang chart. So, how do you access? So, ato ka sa select data source. Kung dili ni mo siya basta-basta ma-access, all you need to do is magbuhat ka first og chart, then go to chart tools, design, data, then select data. Then ato na nimo makita ang select data source. So to give you an idea, mao ni siya ang mogawa sa select data source if imo tong buhaton ang steps na akong gi-introduce. So chart data range. So mao ni siya ang range sa imuhang ko ano data sa imong chart na imong ganahan makita sa imuhang chart. So here you will type chart data range, then imorang i-modify if unsa nga patantalang series or category imong ganahan makita. So more on that on the demo. Ano puli maka-demo kay naglag akong laptop. And lastly, we have here chart animations. When updating data associated with a chart, the chart up itself also updates. In Excel 2016, these changes are animated to help worksheet developers and viewers get a clearer sense of how the changes affect the overall values and relationships in the chart. So basically, what is meant by this is kanang if mag-change gani ka sa imong kuan chart like data sa imong chart kay of course mo change sa jud iyahang outlook, di ba, iyahang appearance kay imo ha biyang gi-adjust imong data. So kanang regarding sa animation, nag-search ko na, and then unfortunately dili siya makita jud sa Excel. Unlike sa kung imong i-transfer imuhang Excel sa PPT, adto nimo makita nga marag ma-animate imuhang chart. So this functionality can also enable creation of dynamic animated charts by using some of the add-ins available for Excel 2016. So kani kay murag medyo wala jud kay koy idea kay mag-search ko kay murag more on jud siya sa PPT nga kanang kuan gani side sa PowerPoint na kanang mo animate ang chart, but kuan just remember nga kung mag-animate ganig chart kay meaning na-update na imong data sa imong chart. And for my presentation kay maura na siya. And sir, unfortunately kay dili ko maka demo karon kay wala ko kasud sa laptop sa akong ang MS Teams kay naglag siya. Okay ra i-video, sir?
Yes, yes, that's fine. Video lang.
Sige, thank you, sir. That would be all. Thank you for listening.
How we will proceed for topic C?
Okay, nakita na ang screen, guys. Good morning, everyone, by the way.
Yes, Zorin. Good morning.
Okay, mag-start na ko, sir. So, today we're going to talk about the topic C for the lesson 4. It's about using advanced chart features. So, before we dig deeper, can I ako introduce nga term? I don't know if you know this. So, next slide, please. So TMI. So I don't know if you've heard about this. Too much information. So if kanang stan mo of kanang K-pop or any Korean celebrity in K-dramas or K-movies, kay you might have encountered this term, no, nga kanang they give out kanang a little bit of information about themselves para kanang ma-feel sa fans sa kanang connected sila. So inana kana I relate this kanang TMI kanang there's too much information on our chart nga ay too much kanang data information, but then kanang maglibog taon saon og present siya into one chart, or how do we properly present it in a chart. So that's why, next slide please. So we will ask this question. So have you ever needed to graphically display two different sets of data simultaneously. So, okay, for example, you wish to show how unit sales correlate to overall sales totals within the same chart. So in ana siya kanang two different data. So it's likely that the figures for total sales are much higher than they are for the number of units sold. Because after all, many items cost far more than a peso these days. Moreover, you suppose you want to display future projections of your data sets on the same chart nga naka-display ang data. So without future data, how can you create chart elements that visually convey the information you wish to share? So what if you can do what if you have to create a lot of these charts, no? So that does this mean a lot of extra data entry, calculation, and formatting? So we're so fortunate. Next slide, please. Nga Excel 2016 includes a wide range of advanced charting features that enables us to display widely varying set of data together. So including forecasting trends on the charts, the reusing of highly stylized and formatted charts again and again. So it almost goes without saying that this level of functionality means that we can quickly make an impact on nearly any presentation without having to put a lot of time and effort in doing so. So now we're going to talk about three of the advanced chart features. So the dual axis charts, forecasting, and trend lines. So this will be quick lang jud kay doon na ni siya human about charts. So next slide. So the first one is the dual axis chart. So this is a chart that displays two sets of information on the same chart. So this can be in the form of dual y-axis chart, which displays two data series simultaneously, or a dual x-axis chart, which displays two sets of categories simultaneously. So far, dual y-axis charts are used more frequently than dual x-axis charts. So here in the example kay kanang isa ka x-axis chart nga kanang nasa ubos kanang the sales, and then isa ka x-axis chart, and then duha ka y-axis chart about the net profit, and the sales ang y-axis. So the main advantage of the dual axis chart is the ability to not only display different sets of data simultaneously, but also to format the different sets of data independently of each other. So this means that you can make the various data series easily, visually distinguishable from each other, and display them within the same amount of space using different scales. So more on this in the workbook presentation, so which will be headed by Miss Odina Labiaga later. So next, so here, the second part is the forecasting. So in addition to creating secondary access to display various data series or categories simultaneously, Excel also included a chart feature that can help you forecast trends in your data. So meaning, na nakay data nga na input para sa usa ka chart. But then you wanted to know no kung asa pa dong ning kanang kung pwede ba ma-forecast ni Excel. So nanay mga mathematical algorithm ang Excel nga kanang maka-forecast siya ana nga data. So here, forecasting is the process of using the trends that exist within past data to predict future outcomes. So by its nature, forecasting can never be entirely accurate, no? Kay nag-forecast naman tao, kay lahi basin ka nang mo deviate ang actual nga nahitabo from the forecast that Excel has made. So as a general rule, the more you forecast out into the future, the less accurate your forecast may become. So, mo na kanang murag within a limited time ra jud na ang pag-forecast kay para kanang kuan gani. Ato na siya mo guide, but then kanang dili na to ikuan nga mo na jud na siya ang mahitabo jud kay there are many factors that can affect our forecast. Lastly is the trend lines. Next slide, please. So trend lines are chart elements that can graphically represent both the current trends that exist within your data and past or future forecasts of those trends. So you can add trend lines to any of the following. So kanang non-stock 2D chart types like column, line, bar, area, stock, or scatter and bubble na mga chart types. So you can also name and format trend lines to make them easier to view on charts or to adhere to organizational branding standards. So to access kono, next slide please. Ay, onya na. So in here, balik sa Jing. So in here, kanang makita nato sa figure that the general trend sa sales kono is for padong siya upward. So or kanang padong siya saka. So even if kanang naay time nga mo down ay month nga mo down ang sales, so the general trend of the sales during this particular year kay padong siya saka. So especially nga kanang nag-start siya from January nga kanang gamay kay siya, but then overall kay mas ni saka siya for the following months. So next slide please. So to access the options for adding trend lines to your charts, we select the desired chart first. So i-select na to. And then secondly is to display the chart tools buttons and to select the chart element buttons. So more on this later no kay at may wa na to asa ni sila na locate and all. Next slide please. So we point the cursor at the trend lines checkbox and then select the arrow that appears to the right to it. So kanang timan ilang sa ni siya i-familiarize lang sa ang process kay later on makita na to kung giunsa siya pag access. So lastly, so lastly kay there are different trend line types, so we can use different types of trend lines to display and forecast data trends depending on the type of data that we wish to analyze. So here are na 6 trend line types. Next slide please. That Excel is offering to us. So first one is exponential. So ang use na data type or forecast data kay katong mga increase in rate or of change at an ever faster rate over time. So kanang grabe ang pag-increase in a specific time. Secondly is linear. So linear kay murag isa lang ka line. So when you graph linear relationships, the resulting graph is a straight line that represents a trend that holds steady or that increase or decreases by a steady rate. So kung ma-increase man kay kanang dili grabe ang increase kay murag inig-increase o mo straight siya balik, and then inig-decrease o mo kana sad balik kanang mo straight na sad ang trend balik. Thirdly kay logarithmic, it has if the data has a rapidly increasing or decreasing rate of change that eventually levels out. So kanang mamao siya sa exponential but then mo level out ang iyahang rate of change. So kanang dili na kay siya mo kuan, dili na kay inana ka fluctuating. Fourth, next slide, is the polynomial. So money siya fluctuates over time, kanang grabe ang pag decrease, grabe sa kay ang pag increase, kanang maglibog siya ka kung asa siya padong. Last second to the last is power. The data increases in rate of change at a steady rate over time. And lastly, kay moving average, so it fluctuates randomly over time. So we can use this type of trend line to smooth out random patterns of values to give viewers a sense of the overall average change in values over time. So we asked no kanang asa mata makita ning mga trend line types. So next slide please. So we present now the format trendline task pane. So here, pwede na ito manipulate ang atong mga trendline into unsa nga type, unsa na color and all. So we use the format trendline task pane to apply formatting and effects to your chart trendlines and to change the type of trendlines in your charts. So we can access the format trendline task pane by selecting the desired trendline. So i-select na to. And then on the chart tools contextual tab, we select the format and then current selection, then format selection. So on the next slide, makita na to ang picture. Kung unsa ang forma, oh my god, it's so gamay no. So pwede rin ninyo ma-zoom. So this is man siya ang forma sa kanang format trend line. So in here ma-edit na to unsa nga type of trend line. And then, pwede sa na to mag-make ta og trendline name. And then if ever we want nga kanang mag-forecast bata, So pa-forward ba or pa-backward atong i-forecast, and then other nga mga edit nga pwede na to mahimo. So with that, I'm gonna pass you on to our workbook presenter, atong pinaka-shop our ever dynamic Miss Adina Labiaga, for the workbook presentation of using advanced chart types, chart features di ay.
Zoran. Ako. Hello.
We can barely hear you.
Di mi kadungog ding.
Dani.
Try to check your mic daw or your audio.
Dani, sir. Maklaro na, sir.
Mas audible ron din kaysa ganina. Just for everyone's information, kay this is the second time na mag-present si Miss Adina Labiaga sa workbook, kay first katong on the topic A and then lastly on the topic C. So go ding.
Announce.
Makita na ding.
So, for the topic, we're gonna first discuss how to make this dual axis chart. So, since
I'm not.
we want
Excuse me, Miss Labiaga. I'm not sure if it's only on my end, but I find it that your audio is very muffled or hinay kayo. Is it the same for the rest?
Same, sir.
Or can you make your voice louder, Dean?
sir. Dani, sir. Madungog na, sir.
Yes, we can hear you, pero medyo hinay siya. Pero sige lang, try to make your voice louder lang daw. Sige, you can proceed.
So, mo ni siya ang end product sa dual axis. So, this is a example of y-axis na chart. Take it from the scratch. So, first, i-select sa nato ang data set nga ganahan nato chart. Select na nato. And next, we're gonna insert a chart. So, akong gamiton kay line chart. Kani. So, before making the dual axis chart, ato sa ni i-format gamay atong chart. Buhatan nato og chart title. Also, nakabantay mo diri kaning sa may y-axis niya kay instead of ang atong dapat ibutang diri kay year para ma-align siya sa ato ang data diri. So ato asad ning i-edit. Click this, right click, then select data. So here nakita sa nato diri. we're gonna edit dire sa horizontal nga axis labels. So instead nga 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running na dire, atong i-edit to the year. Select 2015 to 20. Okay. Diba? Ang chart na to, makita na ninyo, okay na, year na ang nakabutang dire. Okay. So, proceed na ta sa pag unsaon ni nga naa na siya duha ka chart duha ka data diri naa diri ang for the revenue sa vertical and sa pikas diri kay sa gross margin. So, i-click ni nato ang kaning yellow horizontal nga series for the gross margin. I-click ni nato. Wait. Right click, format data series. Here sa atong task pane dire kita nato na plot series on as primary axis or as secondary axis. So we're gonna make this the gross margin nga series as a secondary axis. Oh, and then charan na. And we're done. We're done with the dual axis chart. Nakita na diri ang gross margin kaning orange line and the revenue kaning blue nga line. Next, we're gonna go with the trend line. Forecast with trend line. So, ara mo ni siya ang final nga koan. Delete. We're gonna make this from scratch. So first, we're gonna magbuhat ta og chart. Insert. Line chart lang gihapon natong gamiton. Line chart. Buhat ta nato og chart title. Here. As you can see, pag-click pa lang nako sa chart na nakakuan na nato, makita na diri ang format chart area. Maka-edit sa ta diri. Here. But ang atong purpose man kay ang trend line. So here, i-click ni nato ang kaning line dire. Then we're gonna go with the series options. Click na to. Ay, joke. Text din. Click ni dayon. Right click, makita ni nato ang then add trend line. Then ma-open na nato ang format trend line task pane. Dere nakita na ang trend line options katong exponential, linear, logarithmic, polynomial, power, and moving average. So, nalang ko ikuan ninyo guys nga as based on my research, a trend line kuno is most appropriate to a chart Excel when its R squared is at or near to 1. So asam ni nato makita ang R squared here before aning sa forecast after aning sa forecast na display equation on chart and nasa display R squared value on chart. So i-click na natong display R squared value on chart. This one. Ara. Diba, ang R squared sa exponential kay 0.1638. Then linear. Mangita ta, kani guys, mangita ta og kanang R squared nga kuan nearest to 1. Atong pangitaon. 1642 sa linear, logarithmic, same ra sa linear. Polynomial, 1694. Kani siya, ang polynomial may closest to 1. So, ay kani sa polynomial guys, kay ang order ani niya can be determined by the number of fluctuations in the data or by how or many bends or hills or kaning mga valleys, hills or valleys diri appear in the curve. So if order 2 may nakabutang diri, ngara siya 1 nga hills. Nya diri sa ato ang data kay pila man ni kabuok 1 2 3 4 murag 4 man ni kabuok. Sa ato i-change 1 2 3 orders. Oh, kabantay mo murag ang r squared sad kay ni closer na sad sa 1. Therefore, ang kaning polynomial atong gamiton kay mao man ni siya ang most appropriate sa atong chart sa atong data. There. Also, guys, ipakita na lang sa ninako ang moving average. A moving average trend line smooths out fluctuations in data to show a pattern or trend more clearly. So, here, nawala na ang forecast and nawala na sad ang R squared. Pero mas nakuha na to ang trend line nga ni follow jud siya sa data. See? 1, 2. Mura na siya same nga kuan sa data. Pero balik lang ta sa polynomial. Polynomial lang atong gamiton. So, same sa reports as giingon ni Zoran nga pwede sad ta maka-forecast diri sa format trendline task pane. So here diri sa ubos pwede ta maka-forecast forward or backward. So ato lang i-set diri kung unsa nga period. So sa atong data naamtay daily man ni ang ato ang kuan. Ato ang data diri day September 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means diri sa period is 1 period is equal to 1 day. So example atong i-forecast pa forward to the end of the month of September 2018. For unsa may nag-end? September 19. Ato lang ingon 11 days for September 30. Here, diba? Nakita rin ninyo. Ni changes sad siya dito. And based on the trend line nga sad nga nakita, ang forecast niya kay pa saka. So that means mo increase sad ang view has mahuman ang month. Here. If atong ibutang og 360 days. Diba? Pasaka ra sad siya. Pero balik lang ta sa 11 days. Kay ang giingon, based sa giingon ni Zoran, if mas layo ang inyong period, kay mas dili na siya, say tawag ana.
The less accurate.
The less accurate. Thank you, Zoran. Less accurate na ang forecast. So, 11 days lang ta. So, and we're done with the trend line. Next, we'll have the trend line. I mean, kani nga sheet kay trend line, forecast with trend line. So, there's another way para maka-forecast ta sa atong data. Here. Make ta og new. Select na sa ta og chart. Select na to ang data. Make ta og new chart. Insert. Same lang gyapon. Line chart. Wait. Data. Dili na data wag buhat og chart guys. Dito na data. Select ang data dayon diri sa data nga tab. Here na ay forecast sheet. So, i-click ni nato, then makakita ta og task pin diri. As you can see, diri ang forecast. Kaning blue nga line mo ni siya ang values, ang data. Yellows kay ang forecast kani. Kaning dark ay kaning baga nga yellow ay or yellow ning orange. Orange nga mo ni siya ang forecast. Kaning nipis kaning sa up ay sa down mo ni siya ang lower confidence. May baon na nato later. Lower confidence bound and the upper confidence bound. So, i-click, mag-make ta diri kanus man end your forecast at this point. When man nato i-end ang forecast? So, September 30. By the end of the month, September 30. There you go. And na, we can also have mag-click sa not sa taylaing options. Click ni nato ang options. Forecast start September 19. So, diri nato makita ang confidence interval. So, if imo ni pagamyan ang confidence interval, mas mo narrow siya ang kaning diri sa forecast. As you can see, diri. O, 82%, diba? Mas ni-narrow siya. But if imong pasakan ang confidence level, for example, 99.99% siya nga confident, mas ni wider siya ang diri confidence nga sa chart. So, but atong gamiton lang kay ang 95% kay mao ni siya ang standard confidence level. Here. Pwede sa di siya as kanang if naka-i-change sad sa imuhang chart kay mo detect ra sad ni siya automatically or you can set this manually lang sad but automatically lang atong gamiton. Forecast with trend line, values range, interpolation, and the average. Include and create. Here, di ba? Nagbuhat na make siya in a new worksheet. And there is a new worksheet, makita ra sad nato ang amount for the if lower confidence level. For example, ang forecast jud niya kay 11,339 views. But if lower ang imong confidence, nara siya 9,722 and if upper ang confidence kay naa siya 12,956,000 confidence. And there you have it. There you go. Mo na siya ang sa confidence, I mean, forecast through the data tab. And kani siya forecast through the forecast with trend line through the format trend line task pane. And this is the dual axis chart. And that would be all. Nasabtan ra guys. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much though for especially for the entire group 4, no, to complete the lesson 4, all about the charts. And I hope that during the past time you guys had last week, you were able to experience as well in doing or navigating with with regards to the charts type. And upon checking with the time, I don't think if we can continue with lesson 5. We will just have lesson 5 next meeting. And before we will proceed to lesson 5, is there any other questions or clarifications with regards to the charts from the basic ones to the advanced chart types?
None so far, sir.
All right, thank you, Ron. How about the rest? Is it the same with Mr. De La Serna?
No
Anyone?
question, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Kanensha. All right, so if there's no question now, we will just continue with lesson 5 during our next meeting. So group 5, be ready, and also to the last reporter, which is for the appendices, who will do us all the shortcuts and recaps of the Excel discussion, so we can complete the entire group as well for 5 and 6. All right, thank you so much for joining for today. Hope you have a great day later. Bye bye, guys.
Goodbye
Bye.
and thank you,
Thank you, sir.
sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Bye.
sir.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Goodbye,
Bye, sir. Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.